Here, above my head, 25-meter-tall missiles were standing, capable of destroying an entire city. It's scary just to think about it. I've ended up in some tunnels built for the First World War. Now it seems like I'm lost. I don't know how I got down here. Greetings from the dunes of Liepaja, here in Latvia. It's been a pretty quiet night. I changed the tent's location. In the end, I put it in a more sheltered spot. When it started to get dark, I moved it from there. As you can see, it looks much windier. And I think it was the best decision of the day, or of the night, because here I slept sheltered from any kind of wind. Of course, people pass by, and you can see campfires over there. It was a bit more exposed maybe, but well, no one came during the night. The only thing is, let's see if I get used to the mat, because my back hurts. Damn, it takes me about 10 minutes every day to get up until I pull myself together. Yeah, that mat, that feels like cigarette paper. Today we're going to visit a secret Soviet silo, and for that we have to go to Lithuania, to the south. Before that, I'm going to take a little walk around here, through the dunes, enjoy the views and the sea a bit, and have some breakfast. Let's go! Before heading out to see the Soviet nuclear missile silo, I came here to explore Liepaja a bit more and ended up in some tunnels built for World War I. And this is where the artillery battery was stored. Later on it was used by the Soviets and then by the Latvian army, and right now it's abandoned. It's an area of several kilometers that stretches along the coast, in the north of this small town. It's full of tunnels and buildings. Some are about to collapse, others are hidden in the forest, and some are right on the coast. And it's impressive how big this was. Look. Voila, it keeps going this way. Check out these tunnels. This is where all the ammunition was stored.
Wow, and you can keep going down this way.
Damn, this is impressive.
Look at these bunkers.
Wow, wow.
Wow.
Voila. It's amazing.
I didn't expect this at all. So big. And you have a lot of tunnels like this. This is just the first bunker I've gone into, but there are many along the coast. Now it looks like I'm lost, damn it. I don't even know where I came down from. There you go then. This is for anyone who likes to go into bunkers, do urbex and all that. I really recommend it. Although some structures are about to collapse, you can still have a good time exploring here. Look, I actually went into this one here, but it's just full, full, full. Over here there's another one, and then more. The ones on the coast. It's a network of underground tunnels. Spectacular, my goodness. We can get an idea of what the battles were like here, and the preparation that went into them. For many years this was closed to the public, and ammunition was still being stored here. It was a sensitive site, a protected military area even today. Well, now it's abandoned, but wow, another one? There are so many, yet another one. Liepaja has nothing to do with this anymore, not with so much military structure. It's true that it has a very important port, it's a quiet city, somewhat touristic, and it's the westernmost city in Latvia. In fact, the locals say that this is where the wind is born. Walking around, from what I've had time to see, it's a mix of a modern city, a modern tourist city, or rather Soviet remnants, some buildings, and also many wooden houses, which are very typical of this region. Apparently, in the Middle Ages, the city flourished as a commercial port city. And since it's located in a strategic spot on the Baltic Sea, many kingdoms wanted to compete for it. Just a few meters from these bunkers, there's also a Holocaust memorial, which honors the memory of the inhabitants of Liepaja who saved Jews from the Holocaust, and also, of course, the victims who perished in it. And next to this memorial, there's another small obelisk, which commemorates the more than 19,000 victims and inhabitants of the city of Liepaja. And it says, "Eternal memory to the Soviet patriots," with the red star, which has surprised me quite a bit because it's not very common to see this kind of monument in these Baltic countries. There are fewer and fewer of them, and now it's time to go visit the Soviet nuclear missile silo, heading to Lithuania.
How's it going with
The rest of the tourists here?
Many are from America.
From the United States, yes.
From the United States.
And from where?
From Holland, from Germany, from the United Kingdom.
And from...
Russia.
No more? No.
Not entirely.
No.
That's not important.
Why do you have the script in Russian if there aren't many tourists from Russia?
Many are from Latvia and many speak Russian because there are still many Russians living there.
Well, I've done it. Here I am in the Soviet missile silo. The first one, according to what the girl at the reception told me, as soon as you enter the museum, you're already amazed by the 5 types of fences the Soviets had here to defend this territory. 5 types of fences that covered about 50 meters in length and included sensors, high voltage to electrocute the enemy or intruder, and barbed wire. And look, this is how the territory looks today, turned into a museum. These 4 vaults you see, one here, another one over there in the back, and 2 more over there. Those are the silos where the nuclear missiles were kept. The area where they chose to build this nuclear missile silo was not a coincidence. And that's because not far from here there's a lake, one of the largest lakes in Lithuania. And this site was chosen precisely because it's slightly above sea level, about 170 meters. It was easy to dig the ground here and build tunnel constructions going down, and the proximity to the lake allowed them to obtain and pump water, which was necessary to prevent the silos from overheating while launching missiles. When World War II ended, the 2 emerging powers of that time, the United States and the Soviet Union, entered an arms race. Well, economic, also space, of many kinds, but today we're going to learn a little more about that arms race, which included the development of nuclear weapons. This was the first missile launch base in the entire Soviet Union. When the Soviets realized that the United States was building underground ballistic missile bases, they got to work developing their own. Lithuania, located in a strategic spot on the Soviet border with the rest of Europe, was chosen to host it. The first base of this kind, built in the 1960s, took 2 years to complete. And the nuclear missiles it housed had a range of 2,500 kilometers, which made it possible for them to reach almost any city on the continent. It remained hidden under secrecy in the dense Lithuanian forest for almost 2 decades, until at the end of the 1970s, American intelligence discovered it. Wow, take a look at this. Look, what doors?
Open close.
Damn.
How careful were they here? Oh my God. Comrade, let me through. I see you're at a loss for words. And another military athlete, this Vasmi Jeton thing is like, take your ticket or take your token. I imagine this is where all the soldiers, all the operators, all the workers of this military plant clocked in. Here they are. At the beginning of the operation of this missile launch complex, only a few troops could enter here. The rest of the troops were in the adjacent barracks. Each soldier, if called, and if there was an alarm, had to be at his post in 4 minutes. And the estimated time to launch a missile from the moment the alarm sounded was estimated at 48 minutes. The fact that it was a Cold War and there was no direct confrontation led to a lot of innovation. The weapons and armaments used in World War II had practically nothing to do with those developed in the years that followed. All of this ended up being stored in military warehouses for almost 4 decades, unused and becoming obsolete. Look, here we have a model of what the silo was like, the area where the soldiers and workers were, the communications room. Here we would have the diesel tank, stairs to go down, well, the machine room, the control room, even a small classroom where you could study. This is what it looked like when they loaded the missiles into the silo with these huge cranes. This missile launch silo in Plotskin is the most complex in Lithuania. There were 4 silos in an area that was 80 by 70 meters. These silos were 25 meters deep and 5 meters in diameter, and the walls were 2.5 meters thick. Thank you. And we've reached the ventilation system, so that the soldiers and the personnel who were inside here wouldn't die of suffocation and would have the right temperature. There was a whole very complex system of ventilation and air conditioning, in which different filters were used even to filter radioactive substances. So of course, just imagine being here locked underground, surrounded by nuclear warheads that could explode. I don't know. 30 kilometers around, and you're sitting right on top of them. Let's see what we find around here after visiting the World War I bunkers today. This is nothing. Let's see. This is a labyrinth. Here again. Wow. This is where they had the room. Well, the electrical panels where they controlled all the electricity, and here what looks like gas masks. From here they controlled all the electricity, like I was saying, of this silo. And mainly they used it to move the hatches and open the launch doors, and also to load the fuel. Look at all the types of masks they had, gas masks in all shapes and colors. And here are all the panels from the Soviet era explaining what to do in case of a crisis, a chemical or nuclear war. These panels would be placed in all hospitals, government buildings, administrative buildings, even a method of collective defense. A simple way, it says here, look here, explanations about the blast wave, radiation, and the nuclear explosion. How to act by hiding underground. And here, all types of ballistic missiles or submarines or aircraft that could carry nuclear warheads. These are all from the United States. They're not Soviet, of course. This would be a panel warning, like an intelligence panel, talking about the capabilities that the United States would have. And indeed, I was not wrong. Here we have the diesel engine. This is where it was located, to generate electricity, which was then controlled by the adjacent panels. Let's keep going this way. Let's see what we find.
Wow.
This is where the missile fuel tank was kept. There would have been a huge tank here that reached all the way to the bottom of the room. And here, the technicians would be up there, we can imagine them, refueling, and then the fuel would be pumped directly to the missiles. Here we have a small office with memorabilia, a bunch of Lenin heads, of Stalin.
Look, the emblem of the Lithuanian Socialist Republic, Lithuanian Soviet Socialist Republic.
All these corridors connected the force silos with each other. That way, the people who were here, the workers and the military, didn't have to go to the surface to do anything. They could simply go through the guts of this bunker, from one silo to another, and I think we've arrived. At the silo. Yes, here it is, wow. Here, right above my head, 25-meter-tall missiles would rise up with the power to destroy an entire city. Isn't it scary just to think about it? And this is where you would go up to take a look.
Look.
This right here is the metal hatch, which is now buried under cement. And there we have the huge hole where the missile was inserted.
It is.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. Look at the details of the hatch. A bunch of pipes, holes, ladders.
Look over here.
The pipes would connect to the missile and pump the fuel into the missile.
But you speak Russian?
I don't speak Russian. I'm not Russian.
And this is the first mosaic I've seen during my stay in the Baltic countries.
The thing is, it's a damn mess. There used to be the Soviet Union and cheap electricity, but now it's the Republic of Lithuania.
Do you have
Radiation in the...
back? Yes?
Yes, there was humidity, no.
Don't you have humidity? Yes, yes.
I used to work in a very good and safe place. There was no humidity at all.